The elders told us not to ask questions about the hill behind the market square. They said it was resting ground, not for bodies, but for silence. A place best left untouched. But when my sister began to dig, we remembered what we tried so hard to forget. It all started the morning after our grandmother died. Mama Adan had lived 96 years, maybe more. She was a weaver of both cloth and wisdom, the last living woman who remembered the great fire, the famine, and the songs no one sang anymore. On her final day, she whispered something strange to my sister, Obiajili. Not everything they buried is dead. That night, the lamp in our hut flickered 3 times before dying completely. The next day, Obiajili vanished for hours. When she returned, her feet were covered in dust and her hands shook like leaves in harmattan. She didn't speak until nightfall. Then she said, "There's something buried behind the old fig tree." I felt it. I told her to forget it. That the past had its own grave and we were not the ones to unearth it. But she didn't listen. She went back the next evening. With a lantern. Alone. And she dug. Not deep, just enough to peel back the skin of the earth. She didn't find bones. She found a box. Wrapped in goat skin. Bound with black twine. When she opened it, the air shifted. The crickets stopped chirping. Even the moon ducked behind the clouds. Inside the box were 4 things. A child's anklet. A blood-stained wrapper. A small carved mask. And a folded paper with 7 names written in red ink. One of the names was our grandfather's. That night, our compound groaned. I don't mean the people. I mean the land. The earth itself shivered like it was remembering pain. Obiajili came to my bed, eyes wide. They lied to us, she whispered. All of them. In the days that followed, strange things began to happen. Chickens refused to enter the compound. The mortar cracked down the middle. Rain fell only over our roof and nowhere else. The village priest came. He looked at the box and refused to touch it. Then he said something that made my blood turn to ash. These are the relics of the cleansing. I had heard whispers about the cleansing of Umira, a night that happened over 60 years ago, when several families vanished without trace. They said it was a plague. They said it was punishment from the gods. But now I knew. It wasn't punishment. It was murder. Obiajili found the truth in the form of a confession, written by a man named Chief Udoka, our grandmother's cousin. He had helped the elders cover it all. The 7 names on the paper were the ones who tried to stop a secret land sale, a sacred grove that held the bones of our ancestors. They protested. They were silenced. Buried in unmarked ground and scrubbed from memory. The anklet belonged to a girl not older than 8. The wrapper was her mother's. And the mask. It was worn during the masquerade that distracted the villagers the night of the killings. They had danced, while their neighbors died. Obiajili refused to put the box back. She took it to the center of the village during the New Yam festival and placed it beneath the sacred tree. The drummers stopped. The dancers froze. And then, the sky opened. Not with rain. With screams. Wind blew from nowhere, lifting skirts and knocking over calabashes. The ground hissed. People fell to their knees. And a voice, not a man's, not a woman's, filled the air like thunder inside a whisper. You buried truth. Now it lives again. Some ran. Some wept. The eldest of the council, Odigu, collapsed on the spot. When they tried to carry him, blood trickled from his ears. His last word. Forgive. Since that day, Umira has never been the same. The sacred grove was replanted. The 7 names were carved into the village stone. And every year, during the moon of remembrance, we leave offerings not just for our ancestors, but for those we tried to erase. my sister never left the village. She became the voice people feared and needed. Children gather around her, not for fairy tales, but for truth. And me. I remember the day I watched her dig. I remember how I begged her not to. And I remember what the earth gave her in return. Because some people bury secrets. But others, they dig. And when they do, the silence speaks. Louder than drums. Truer than fire. Heavier than grief. She dug where we buried the truth. And it changed everything. Forever.